Okay,
Perfect.
so
Ready to go?
I'm sorry, but we missed everything after Skyline.
Yep, I got you. I was just rambling about Skyline just because I'm excited about the partnership that I have with the company's called Massive Capital. For y'all to get some good knowledge on commercial deals, they have a webcast maybe twice a week, but it's called Massive Capital. And I think their website is massive.capital.org, maybe. Really good company, and some good people to connect with. Like I said, they have big deals to help all the agents out, and boost up the brokerage. So, yeah. So I've been working with Mr. Cunn for about 8 years, and he buys property. It's funny because his culture don't believe in loans. You know, we talked about culture earlier. They don't believe in loans, so they buy everything cash, whether it's a hotel, shopping center. I never seen so much money before. So they just wire the funds over and purchase whatever they need to purchase, but then they'll sell it to other people and they might finance them or they work on finance, but they build like high rises. And I worked with him when I was with the CoStar Group. So when I did all the analytics and data for commercial real estate, he was one of my clients. And it's funny because he's an engineer by trade. So he's real like analytical statistics. Yep. He look at numbers. He'll go look at the properties. That's why I say he does buy residential as well. So if you got something that you're sitting on that need to be sold, he's a good person to contact. He's just gonna let you know the numbers. Like, yep, look like this something we can do. Luckily, that's the hedge fund company. So now he got over. I would say he probably have over 1,000 members in passive. It's called Passive Investment Network. So they taking over their company as well for people who want to get into real estate investment, but they real passive. They don't want to do the construction analytics. So they group their money together. So now he has like I think $248 million in assets that they need to utilize because these people want to return on the investments eventually. But it's a hedge fund. It's a hedge fund. Yep. So he was like, "Hey, Kip, I want to partner with you. Let's build Skyline. We're gonna give you all the deals because right now we're paying somebody else the money, so we might as well keep it all in house." Yeah. And that's it. Gave me an opportunity to be CEO. I was like, cool, but this is how much it's gonna cost you. And it's like, hey, we'll pay you, your team, give me your salaries. If y'all need 30 offices across Texas, I got you. So they want to expand internationally because a lot of deals that their sellers and buyers are from India and China. So I plan to take Skyline international, and White Star is mostly for Texas. So we'll have both of them for a while until I ease up out of White Star and let Skyline grow, and that's it, just be an investor. Yep. So that's what's been going on in my life. But I have about 23 years of real estate experience now. Started my career with Actually, I started off in doing loans in 2001 after I graduated from college, and then started working in new home sales with KB Home, Meritage Homes for like 8 years. Then went to the CoStar Group where I worked with software data, commercial data analytics. Oh, did really? Okay. So apartments.com, LoopNet, now they got homes.com. Yep. So I got some great experience with them, built some relationships. And one of my clients were a title company who offered me to start a branch and a franchise of a title company. So I started off in Pearland, expanded to East Downtown, and in October 2020. So when we started White Star Title, so I created my own agency just because I felt like we didn't have enough representation. We didn't have enough representation. I'm gonna leave it like that. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it like that. We didn't have enough representation as title company. So I was like, nah, we can do this as well. So I think we was playing poker one night and they was like, hey, kid, why don't you start a title company? And I was talking to Larry Brooks and he was like, hey, we'll use you. And then Romar was like, oh, we'll use you too. So it really started off at the poker game during COVID. I was like, why are we starting during COVID? But it's funny, we started October 2020, January 2021 was the biggest ever. We made like $100,000 in revenue that 1 month. So I was like, oh, title is lovely. Like I want to do this forever. And it's funny when I got in the title, I thought it was just signing paperwork at the closing table. But as I learned, it is a lot more in depth than that. Well, that's what we think it is, Kip. So tell us what it really is. Absolutely. I thought same thing. Hey, we just sign paperwork and close it up. But honestly, I'm gonna start from the very beginning. When we get a contract from you all, we get it, put all the information in our software, which we use Qualia. Some other title companies use RamChris or SoftPro. We put the information into our software, and then we send it to our examiners. So our examiners pulls up all the title evidence. So they do all the due diligence, and they pull the information for the buyer, for the seller, and for the property. So We'll go to the county records, dig up everything we have on the name, social, birth dates, all the information of all the parties involved. So from my process, my escrow officer should reach out. As soon as we get the contract, they're going to reach out, send you a welcome email saying, thank you for the contract. Here's the seller info sheet. Here's the buyer information sheet. We need this filled out, sent back to us so we can start ordering payoffs. Even before we get the commitment, we want to make sure we have all the information possible. Once we get that information back from the examiners, they call it a title commitment. So they'll send us a title commitment with all the title evidence and say, hey, these are the items that may need to be cleared up. Here's all the information that we might have as far as liens, judgments, taxes, HOA, bankruptcy, child support. They're going to let us know if the legal is correct, if the names is correct, if this person selling the property is the correct person selling the property, because we have seen issues, especially nowadays. There's a lot of fraud going on. I think I had a phone call today saying, hey, Kip, y'all sold my property without my permission. And what's so crazy, I looked at the file, I was like, oh, I mean, they made a fake ID. It looked fake to me, but I mean, it was perfectly cut. Like it looked like a Texas ID. So I'm trying to get them some information so they can get their property back. But we did everything on our end as much as we can. Even our underwriters looked at it. But things happen. And they still got, and the notary went out there, took copy. I mean, everything was look legitimate on my end. But things happen. Yep.
She bought a property and we went through title, we did everything. And then after they closed on it, they were over there flipping the property. And the neighbors, the owner shows up and he's calling the workers and stuff. And he's like, what are y'all doing here at our property, at my property? He's like, this is mine. I didn't sell it. And I mean, the guy showed up for closing. I seen the seller and everybody, you know, everything. He showed up for closing. He had an ID, all of that. And so when we reached out to ask them about it, you know, like, hey, what's going on? Reached out to the agent and says, well, most will give them some money and take care of it. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Whatever happened with the situation, it was cleared and taken care of. My client does still have the property, but yeah, they went on for a few weeks.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
And it could go on for years. Like it's been times where I have seen with previous title companies, you would think, but
I think you not. He was one of the investors that sold the property. And that's what he said to me, was that the most would throw them some money and take care of it.
well, it should probably happen a couple of different ways than that. But I mean, it could definitely happen like that.
They had, you know, title, they reached out. And
I mean, we probably, I think we discussed that, right? Is that the same incident, maybe?
No, I don't think I've spoken.
Okay.
No, whatever happened, they took care of it, and my client does sell on the property. But I mean, she bought it outright. We went through title, we did everything.
Yeah, so. I'm gonna tell y'all some more stories. Like I have seen it all. Let me see after we get the title evidence, we make sure everything is legitimate, get all the payoffs, order everything. Then we work hand in hand with the real estate agents, with the lenders, with our underwriters, all parties involved. So the title company main purpose is really to facilitate the transaction, right? We're a mediator, just a neutral third party, making sure everybody's on top of their job, including ourselves. And I'm a real stickler for I like to be early. I like to have everything prepared. I don't know, maybe it's that Capricorn in me, right? Like being an alpha is something else. We like to be first all the time. So I like to make sure we have everything in order 2 weeks before we go into the closing table. Sometimes it does take a little longer, but I hate missing closing dates, and I'd rather be prepared than not prepared. So my staff understands like, hey, Kip is really ain't about being on time and being prepared. I hate when people say, oh, it's the title company fault. And honestly, it don't really be the title company fault most of the time. It usually be the lender's fault not getting us the paperwork that we need so we can proceed. And honestly, I'm glad I'm talking to all real estate professionals because y'all understand it's a lot of moving parts to through every transaction. Yeah. So I think the title company responsibility is to make sure they in communication with everybody. I tell them nobody should be calling the title company. We should be calling everybody so we don't have any phone calls. If we communicate effectively, we shouldn't have any phone calls. Everybody's already aware. Everybody updated. They know what we need. And you'll see me, I'm like a little Hitler in the office because I need them to do everything perfect. Right. Usually I'm always smiling and chill, but behind the scenes, y'all be like, oh, I do not want to work with Kip. But because I'm in the same boat as y'all, right? I don't get paid until everything closes. And it is some expenses, even when we open the title, roughly it costs me about $500 every time we open, where it close the file or not, right? The examiner's charging me, the attorneys are charging me, whether the file closes or not. So it's in my best interest to get these things closed. And like I said, I don't get paid until y'all get paid. So I need to make sure it gets paid. Um, so after we get all that paperwork, everything figured out, we'll reach out to all parties, making sure. I like to send the CD out so people not surprised when they come to the closing table with these numbers changing, right? So really, I hate doing same day closing limits. Oh, we balance, we got to close, let's close today. And honestly, I'd rather the client look at their numbers at least 24 hours, right? So they can be prepared on what they got to bring in the close. Because when they get to the closing table, it's already stressful enough. They've been waiting 21 to 30 days already. So one more day for them to make sure everything is perfect, I don't think it should matter that much. But if we do need to close, sometimes they lock expire. There's some exceptions that we need to make. If they lock expire, if they're moving out the house, they need to move in, they got mover set. I totally get it, because I have purchased properties myself and investment properties and homesteaded properties. So I do understand the panic and the urgency of getting everything done. So after we get all the numbers together, we send out to everybody, make sure everybody's on the same page. And then once you come to closing table, it should be a celebration and a party, right? Everything should be reviewed. Everything should be looked at. It shouldn't be much questions asked. And normally when we go to the closing table, I'm pretty quick with the paperwork signing because they should already reviewed it before. We should answer all them questions the day before. So we just sign the paperwork. So it should take about 30 to 45 minutes at the closing table, celebrate, take pictures. After closing, title company responsibility is to make sure all the funds go out to the appropriate parties. So we usually ask to get y'all CDAs maybe 2 days before if possible, so we can make sure everything is already set up. I have my staff already put the wires in the day before, so the only thing they have to do is just confirm the numbers are correct and press the button.
But okay, so Kip, most of the issues is with the lender though, right? Like for you to be able to do all of that, the lender also has to be
hand in hand. But luckily we work hand in hand with them, right? So we might talk to the lender maybe 2 or 3 times a week just to make sure all the numbers correct. Do they got the credit close? What else is needed? Do y'all need anything from title? Do you need anything from the agents? Yeah. Like I said, we got to keep this thing pushing. We are, I say, behind the scenes like a office manager, right? They don't get enough credit for what they do, but they making sure the office runs smoothly. They doing a lot, making sure the supplies is there, right? That's the same thing as title. Our responsibility is to stay behind the scenes, making sure we pushing everybody to do what they supposed to do, and communicate throughout the process with everybody. Because sometimes the buyers can't talk to the sellers. Yeah. The buyer's agent don't talk to the selling agent, right? The brokers don't talk to each other. So it's the title company responsibility to make sure that communication is there. And I feel like with title, it is a legal aspect and it's an insurance aspect, right? We ensuring that the title is clean and clear. And then also we legally putting everything together, make sure it's recorded that the ownership of the property is being transferred correctly. So even after closing, we have to go and record, make sure all the money is sent out, making sure everybody did cash their checks, making sure all the wires is sent out, because we have a daily reconciliation. So our bank account has to be zero every day. So if we get earnest money in, we need to make sure that earnest money get out. And it has to balance to, it can't be even a penny short or a penny over. I always have to be zero.
State regulation?
It's state regulation. You have Texas Department of Insurance comes in. They do an audit every 2 years to make sure everything is perfect. When we have recording fees on there, we got to make sure our recording fees match what we did record. If not, we need to send a refund back. Taxes, luckily I have a really good team. My compliance manager, really good. So Meredith, actually, I think this year we only had to spend maybe $82 after audit. That first year we didn't know a lot what was going on. In October 2020, I think we had to pay like maybe $230 out, which is really good. That's still good, right? But we also lost like $100,000 from fraud. And I feel like real estate, fraud is huge, especially wires. When it's time to close, make sure you confirm the title company wire instructions, right? Yeah. We have seen emails get hacked from the real estate agent. Emails get hacked, right? And telling they buyer, hey, send this wire to this person. We got, I don't know if we was hacked, but the realtor sent the email to one of my escrow officers saying, hey, this is my seller's wire instructions for their proceeds. We called, confirmed. They said yes, but we confirmed with the agent, not with the actual seller, which now luckily that happened, and I lost like $55,000, right? Hey, we sent the wire to what we thought was the right wire instructions, but actually it was somebody else. They just got hacked. And I was like, well, we messed up, so I'll take the responsibility. I think I wrote a check. But luckily we made some really good money. So I was like, okay, let me take this L. It's a lesson learned. But vice versa, like we just had a recent one where
different though. Like
you couldn't, and we didn't know it. Everything looked legit. They had the picture of the agent, everything on their email, right?
Wow.
And we confirmed they had a fake phone number that we called super hacker. But what's so crazy, we just had one last month. We was at the close. The closing was the day before, so we sent the CDE, let them know like, hey, this is the number you need to bring. They sent earnest money to us, but their email was hacked, and now it looked like it's a White Star title email saying, hey, this is your closing cost. Please verify wire instructions. But she called a totally different number, sent it to a totally different bank, totally different wire number. Her closing fees, she was paying cash for this property, 75 grand. So she's like, yeah, I sent y'all a wire. I was like, we don't see it. Oh, this is who I sent it to. But the numbers was totally different. The name was totally different. And she sent it to somebody out of state, right? Which she should have known. But now she's suing me because the title company is responsible for everything, right? But her email got hacked. She sent it to the wrong number. And she verified sending it to the wrong person. So we're going through it. Mm-hmm. Instead of the same one she already had sent the earnest money to. It was like, why would you send it to somebody different?
I mean, don't y'all have disclaimers on y'all emails?
We do, absolutely. We have a whole bunch, and we probably have more than we have 2 paragraphs full of disclaimers.
Seeing those disclaimers to tell you, like if you get communication from somewhere different from what you're already been receiving.
Absolutely, like what's going on. Yeah, but I mean, it happens a lot to title companies. I probably get about 10 to 12 emails every day from, hey, open up this payoff. This is the wire instructions. Please send this. But we have all the time, every day, all my team, and they go into every title company. Yeah.
That was Presley Graceland. Somebody scammed.
They did, absolutely.
Scam and go million. Yeah, they tried to take the property and put it in foreclosure on auction. They put a public notice putting the Graceland up for auction foreclosure. It was the whole thing was a scam. The lenders, they claimed they had loaned money to the original, to his daughter or ex-wife or whatever,
you're right, yeah.
before she passed, and they went into default, and she had signed the property over as collateral. And so they went and they filed a public notice to put the house up for foreclosure. And luckily his granddaughter, the day before it went up to auction, was able to get it stopped in court. And then they found the same night after the judge stops it, they send an email saying they were releasing all claims to the property. I just seen yesterday they did an interview, an anonymous interview, admitting that they were a scam. They were located in Nigeria, and they do this all the time. And they steal properties from people that pass away or elderly all the time by doing that. Fake information, you don't need any identification to send the documents. You hack an email or any of it. You change one letter difference or one number.
It could be anything, yeah.
And yeah, it's a lot of scams.
And I tell all my agents now, make sure if you get an email from us, make sure you hover over the name, right? Because it might not be Kip Edwards. It might say something totally different once you hover over and see their real email address. I say verify everything, whether it's through a phone call, not necessarily through email, but I say verify, especially when you send the money. So my team know anything they do with money and names, everything must be correct. Like I need you to triple check the money, especially the money thing. When you send out these wires, I know we work with, say, Mike all the time. His wire instructions probably haven't changed in 10 years, but I need y'all to still call him just to verify it's the same, because things do change. And it covers ourselves. So they know anything to do with people's money, we need to double and triple check. And then anything to do with this title commitment, make sure the legal is correct as well.
I guess personally, I'm just not emailing anything wire instructions. I'm just not gonna do it. Like I'm gonna call and I'm gonna tell it to you over the phone. Like, hey, you got a pen and paper?
We old school, right? So that's what we do, right? We want to make sure the money part is correct. But I feel like the younger agents or new agents, they don't know, right? They broker might have their assistants in it and they brand new, like, oh yeah, just send it to this one.
And I'm even older. I want to see you get my money.
But cashier checks the same way though. We get so many fraudulent cashier checks, and especially for earnest money. So honestly, I prefer wires, and I prefer us to send wires back out instead of giving a check to these clients. Let me see. 2 years ago, or I guess y'all see on the news now, people was actually stealing all these checks that's coming out of the post office, right? Yeah. We had the FBI come to our office, be like, hey, look like they trying to duplicate y'all checks. They had my logo and everything on. I'm thinking like, how my logo be in Louisiana? White Star is made for Texas, right? It's only the white star from the Texas flag.
Yeah.
There's no way we should be in Louisiana, but they was stealing stuff out the mailbox, and we sent out maybe 50 to 100 checks a day.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no, everybody getting wires for now. Like, oh, if
No
we're gonna have to
bullshit.
pay something, let us be the one who mess it up, right? So wires is definitely, I think, a better way to go because the banks do verify, and it's more insurance. Whether we send in the check or they bring the check in, I prefer electronically.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
it to be
no,
done electronically, yeah.
what I'm saying is, I agree with you. The wiring is cool. I'm just not giving the instructions over email.
I probably wouldn't. Yeah, I would like to call and
Yeah,
verify. Yeah.
call and give you the
Yeah.
But,
All right, for us, we send out DocuSigns now. It's just a little bit easier. We can track it. And we put some stuff in place because now we're about to deal with some high dollar deals. And I can't afford to lose $10 million, $15 million, $20 million. Exactly. So we actually, I mean, the title industry is getting a little bit better as well with the whole fraudulent thing because people know that, hey, if you target title companies, they doing a lot of transactions and they send a lot of checks out and wires out. So it's easier to target them than to go after agents. Not saying agents don't do a lot of transactions, but say 4 to 5 transactions in a month, closing the month is really good for an agent, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the title company, we need to do about 30, 40 just to kind of be okay. Yeah, just to be okay. So it's definitely a volume thing on our end. But that's the title process. I mean, after everything closes, we record everything legally, send out the everything that has been recorded to all parties. Then that kind of wraps up everything. And the insurance, I tell people all the time, title insurance lasts as long as you own the property. So you pay this one-time fee, and if you keep the property for 50 years, you have title insurance for 50 years, right? The lender's policy might go after the loan is paid, but your owner's title policy stay with you as long as you have the property. And I tell people, I know sometimes they want to transfer stuff in the other people's name. Your policy will discontinue after the ownership changes, right? So if I want to add my daughter to it, I want to add my brother to it. Oh,
the title insurance policy does?
mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why I tell people, you sure you want to put this person in there? Why don't you just put them in the will? Didn't they get the property? Well, I just wanted to be sure. Well, you know, once you change this ownership, your policy is going to stop.
Is it possible to get another policy though?
Refinance or do a transaction. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know that because I didn't know that for a while. I was like, well, we're just transferring the name. But then it also triggers, the ownership change.
Or even adding a name.
Or even adding a name. Yep, that means ownership change.
So okay, so say if I want to add somebody to my property, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I know it's gonna cancel out my my title insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But as a consumer, I can't just go purchase title insurance.
Mm-mm.
It has to only
be through a transaction. Yep.
So I guess you could put a person through it now because they gotta buy it.
And then if you have a loan, say you have a loan and you want to add like somebody else to the thing, you might want to check the lender first because they can accelerate the payments. But luckily nowadays, more lenders are actually okay with people doing subject tos, wraparounds. I've seen it more because they don't want to lose the property, right?
They still gonna put that acceleration clause.
But they should.
It gives them the option. They're just not calling it due.
Mm-hmm.
We know you tripping.
There's something's going on. Yeah, they're gonna make their money somehow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of switch topics for a minute.
Absolutely.
You can't switch that.
This is big in real estate right now. Are you guys wholesale friendly or what are your thoughts around
We are.
wholesalers?
I feel like, well, let's say it like this. I'm cool with investors, right? So, because I feel like I'm an investor, not on a big scale, but you know, I dabble a little bit. We invest. I feel like we all invest, right? I feel like wholesalers are similar to realtors, right? They just don't represent the parties. But I feel like some good wholesalers, they do stuff the right way, right? They super transparent. And I feel like some agents are good, super transparent. And I feel like some not. Some brand they don't know yet, right? They might not just know the process. So for me personally, I guess we don't work with every wholesaler or every investor just because if they're not doing things the right way, I don't want to put my name on it. So if they're not like super transparent, then it's not worth me doing the deal, right? Like I only make less than 1% off this deal. It's not worth me putting my company in jeopardy. But there's also some good wholesalers out there who know how to do a little bit of both, right? They might be a wholesaler, but they work with agents, which I like because they hold each other accountable. I say wholesale deals are good. I even have, not that I don't know, let me quit saying this on the wire recorded, but I have seen agents or brokers do wholesale deals as well, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like they should do it. So what's it called? A net listing, right? They should be like, hey, if you want 250 grand for this property, I'll sell it for 300. I should get this 50,000.
Yes.
Because you only wanted 250.
Yeah.
If that's what y'all agree to, that's what you agree to. So,
Well, you just gotta disclose it, but see now,
Yeah.
but now wholesalers gotta disclose.
and they
Yeah,
should.
they gotta disclose
Yeah, I
to
think
the.
But not all of them. I mean, we have
Yeah.
did, we
A
did
lot.
triple. Let me tell you, we did triple. What's it called? We did a triple close. A to
Yeah.
B, B to C, C to D,
Yeah.
D to E.
Yeah.
Because some people just don't know, like in some, say like foreign countries, they might not know what a realtor is or a wholesaler. They just like, I'm buying this shopping center for 100 grand. I feel like I got, or let's say 100 million. They feel like they got a good deal, right? Hey, they're gonna make this number work, we're gonna do this and build this, even though the wholesaler might have got it for 80 million. I should knock the wholesaler for making $20 million for if they found a buyer who, because I feel like price is what price it's not a number, right? It's what the person is willing to buy for and what the person willing to sell it for. That's price to me. So it don't matter what that number
In
is.
the real estate space, we make such a big deal about wholesaling. When wholesaling covers any marketplace, right?
Any marketplace.
When I walk into HEB, that ain't what HEB paid for that banana.
Right.
HEB paid,
Yeah.
and then what HEB paid for it ain't what it cost the banana.
What it cost to get.
Like, wholesaling is in everything. It's supply chain.
Yeah.
So wholesaling in real estate is really just supply chain in real estate.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people just make a big deal about it for no reason.
Yeah.
I took some time to learn about wholesaling because my husband wanted to do it. And so I went in and I kind of looked at it and dibble dabble and all that. I didn't like the at the time when I was looking at it, yeah, you don't have a lot of transparency. I understand how it works, and then like you have your wholesaler and then they turn around, they're gonna put their money on there and then they got somebody else. By the time it's done, you got 3 different people involved. And it's a lot of moving parts to make it close, the 3 closings.
Just think for the title company how hard it is, right?
And I was like, yeah, I don't like this. By the time they said it, damn, baby, just gotta let me help you buy this private. Like, let's not do this. You thought you were saving something. I can understand, for people who want to do it for off market, like flip property or something. Yeah,
absolutely. And sometimes it just makes sense for them.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
They think they're saving, or they go in, they find it on their own. They try to cut some corners, red tapes, all that, and speed it up. Okay.
Well, but then you got some people, like say for sale by owners, and they don't want to hire agent. Like they don't want no agent. They don't sound.
Then the wholesaler might be good for them,
right?
Yeah.
But I got a guy that I know will pay. Say you at 75, he'll pay 80. Right?
Hey,
he said it for 75, and he want 80.
That's it. Yeah. Hey, that's it. Yeah.
We're gonna get paid. So I mean, ain't nobody out here trying to work for free.
Yeah. I feel from the title standpoint, we have to read more than one contract, right?
Yeah.
So we do charge a little bit higher, and I recommend them they do a double close, or if they feel uncomfortable showing, hey, this is how much I'm making off the deal, you need to do a double close then.
Yeah. I mean,
you just have to pay double fees, right? Double policy.
But then they gotta get a bridge company or something that's going.
Well, legally they don't really have to. So say if we now talked about this triple close that we did, the A to B, B to C, C to D.
Yeah.
Yep. So say we close D first. Everything closed on the same day. We can use the funds from the end to make sure we cover. We just got to make sure we record.
But the end gotta close first.
But the end, because we need the funds for it, right? And we have done that. Usually it's only like a double close. But we also, sometimes a lender needs to know, like, hey, how this person got this property, because if we do this portion first, they're gonna want to know it's not even in these people's name yet, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. They're like, hey, I got the title commitment. It look like this person on the property.
Yeah.
So we let them know, hey, this is exactly what they're doing, and this is why. That's why I say I like wholesalers who are transparent and can communicate. And if they're working with a lender, it's easy on a cash deal, right? We won't have to worry about all that disclosures. But if they have a lender, some lenders like, fine, hey, or especially like hard money lenders, like, I don't care. As long as everything's done legally, we get in this policy.
Yeah.
They qualify for this amount. This is what the appraisal of the property is.
Yeah.
The numbers look good. Kip, here, go ahead and close this deal. And then we use those funds to fund everything else. But everybody do need to close like on the same exact day. Yep. We still have to record the first one first, the second one, yep, and make sure everything is down to a penny.
So like sometimes when lenders like they'll send the money they'll send the money and then they'll send the funding code, but the people can't close until tomorrow. So how do y'all do with that? Like, cause now you got this money in your.
Sometimes we send it back. Like, some lenders are really good, like UWM. They like, hey, if y'all need to keep it 48 hours, we totally understand. Cause I mean, sometimes we have sellers in different states, right?
Yeah.
So it might take a while for us. Like we had a deal where I think 11 people inherited the property, a couple people passed, so it was like 13 people at the table. One person didn't want to sign, which
They got that.
but I mean, they know they brothers and sisters, right? Like, hey, this one's not gonna sign. She want $1,000 more than everybody else, and we had on that one, we had to push it. We can't sign. I mean, we need everybody to sign. So I think they lost the deal on that property. And then luckily they found another buyer.
Always one, bro.
But they still lost some money because the backup buyer was buying the property. Yep, less on the property. So this she started like that. I missed out on this first money, so let me do it again and get it done. But I have seen all kinds. I see people walk out over 50 cents, right? Yeah. Oh, I ain't getting this money. I'm out. I ain't signing anything.
Have you ever seen where people go in and like alter documents? Like
I haven't seen them alter documents because
I see it, but you kind of suspect it. Like for instance,
oh, I have seen it. I think wholesalers do it quite a bit. That's why we don't do a lot of wholesale deals, because they're a little bit harder to work. And like I said, I don't get paid until it closes, right? And it already cost me $500 every time I open a file. So usually I like to work more traditional deals. It's easier, right?
Yeah, I had
but I do work
client I had, and originally they had mentioned all the siblings. So all the siblings were told, like, we're going to do closing on this date. And then suddenly, no other sibling needs to come except one.
Well, normally at the title company, unless they have power attorney or executors of the estate that can sign on behalf of the state for everybody. But we're going to send the funds to the attorney.
Yep, she was, and then the other siblings was like, we don't want to put up a fuss, you know, like she'll take care of it. And then she was like, oh, surprise, it was just my house. And I'm keeping the money. I'm gonna give y'all what I want to give y'all.
Which can happen, especially they sign over their interest over to it, right? I have people sign over warranty deeds.
And that's what I think was altered because they were just like, what happened? And then the title was like, we can't discuss anything with you guys anymore to them. So I was just like,
wow. So they didn't have
because apparently she had documents that they signed one document, but she added in the documents for the notary, apparently, to make it look like it was just hers and that they.
And it happens all the time.
And they had gave like the ID and stuff. Yep. So that was just.
We had turned business away. Like I think we had like $1 million out there. I was like, hey, why these names look funny? Like this person's name is this and the signature is this.
Yeah.
We're like, nah, we need the original. And then they came back, dates messed up. They don't know if they had this brother. They don't know who passed away. It's just some funny stuff acting. So we do a lot of due diligence and we try to catch everything we can. But I mean, I'm sure some
it's loopholes, especially when you know like a notary or something.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, your mom wanted this just.
So we like when people come in. I know people are Kip, it's convenient for us to do a mobile notary. I'm like, okay, if we do a mobile notary, I need us to order the notary. I know the notary service I need to send out there to you because if I have a funny feeling, and I'm quick to turn the deal away, like, hey, no, we're not doing this. This sounds funny already to begin with. Why I'm wasting my time? And it's gonna come back on me eventually. And then the seller's gonna be mad, the buyer's gonna be mad, the agent's gonna be mad. And I think real estate is all about relationships, especially in the title portion of it, because there's a lot of moving parts. If I make Mike mad, I mean, none of y'all gonna use me up again, right? Exactly. So I'd rather do things the right way. And if I have to, I lost business. Like I used to work with the company Legacy with Derek Bowles. And sometimes Derek don't like things I say to him. He's real alpha male, right? He's like, hey, a personality, like, I need this work, man. I'm sending you out this business. Like, Derek, I want your business, but I don't really need it anymore. Like, thank you, but I got to do stuff the right way. And it's not like I want to turn away deals because I get paid like y'all. The more deals we do, the more.
I just want to write deals.
I just want to write deals and do everything correct because I feel like it's already a standard put on us already, right? We have to go over and beyond and be exceptional to get the same accolades some other folks get. And I mean, for the age that I work with, I expect the same expectations, right? Like, hey, we on a whole nother pedestal, and if we're gonna be doing good and get traction in this market, we need to do the things the right way or better than the right way.
Walking away, my client actually did not close on his property because his note went up $2.42. I want to pay the whole 30 years.
I know what you mean, but I feel like if the title company and the lender communicated that way before they got to the closing table, he wouldn't be surprised. Because I usually do the closings for my team, right? Yeah, hey, this what you told me?
What about $2?
I couldn't understand it really, but I'm just talking to a realtor that
Was
would
it
work
not
for
on the
years.
city? Well,
Well, it was just the principle. He felt
Well, you know.
He feel like, no, y'all changing these numbers on me, which I totally get it.
When you go to a lender, they gonna send you out the estimate. The estimate loan is different than your final CD. That final CD went up $2.
Would have been better if it was the other way, right? They should have over did it at the very beginning. And when it's less, he probably would have been like, cool, it's even better.
Taxes and the
Yes,
insurance,
that's what
the
the estimate is.
insurance.
And I tell lenders that all the time. Don't sit down yet. Wait till we get the right numbers.
Let me tell you, that probably was the camel that broke the.
Yeah.
straw that broke
It
the
was.
camel's
But
back.
something else.
Yeah, it was
Yep.
other stuff, and
It was.
I think what this was probably telling him was, I can't trust nothing that just happened in this property.
Before. Yep.
Yeah,
And I'm the same way,
His new
like-
build on his house, and he felt like everything was wrong with his new
Yeah.
build, and that
It was a
$2
trust.
just pushed him over.
Yeah.
Yes.
It had to be something going along
Yeah.
during the process. And I'm the exact same way.
It-
Yeah,
it
you
was
tell me something,
several-
I take your word for it. Hey, you told me I have to put 5% down. Now all of a sudden I got to put 15% down. Like you just told me everything looked perfect. I can get this.
yeah.
And 2 days later, what changed? What changed in 2 days?
You feel like you can just lie to me.
You're right. Feel like you baited me in and now you switching some stuff around.
Hey,
But
we
I
got
thought
any
totally
questions,
different.
any questions online? What's that in that chat right there?
At the moment.
No questions online. This is great information. This is so funny. So you know I wish I was there, but anyway, it's good.
You say, what'd you say, Laverne?
I said, there's no questions in the chat. This is a great conversation. I wish I was there. It's good. This is really good.
So true.
I have a question.
Sure.
You don't begin.
Oh. Go ahead.
So instead of putting the questions, he said, I have a question.
All right.
Unmute yourself.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Wendy. Okay, I just had a closing. It was a married couple, but the wife wasn't going to be on. I didn't understand why the wife wouldn't be on the deed, being that it's a communal state. So when it's a communal state with the state of Texas, I thought that both, husband and wife had to be on the deed. Do you guys enforce that? Is that something that is even questioned? Like what's usually
Yep. As far as the title company, we don't care anyway, because people can buy investment properties all the time, right? And since I'm an investor, all I want my name with my wife's name, just because I go sell the property. If they homestead the property, then they both should be on the deed of trust if this is going to be a homesteaded property. But it's really up to the lender, right? Usually, if they have a loan on the property, the lender is preparing those documents and the lender's attorney is preparing those documents. And it could be a reason that they didn't put the wife on there. But that would be
this was a cash deal.
Oh, so they shouldn't have a deed of trust then. They should just have a warranty deed.
Okay.
Yeah, because the deed of trust is only saying, hey, I got a loan on this property. So the warranty deed, well, it sounds like either the husband didn't want to own that to begin with, because usually the title company makes the warranty deed for them and usually asks like, hey, how do you want the title to be held?
So just
Okay, they did ask them, but
And the title company said, no, we're not putting them on there.
No. The guy, the husband said,
the husband,
Oh, well, who paid the cash? The husband?
The husband.
yes.
Oh, well, the husband's choice then.
Okay, I just
But
thought that.
but let me tell you, when he go sell that property though,
It would be her.
they're gonna ask like, hey, your wife needs the signs if you was married, because they're gonna have to fill out a marital status affidavit. So when you go to sell the property, it don't even make a difference. The wife gonna get 50% anyway, right?
Oh, wow.
That's
That's where it's gonna come in once you make income off the property. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was my only question.
No other questions for title? I know we're not the most sexy in this portion of the transaction. I know, right?
I can make it simple.
Yep.
I have a question. On a property that, for instance, my grandfather has a property that I think somewhere through the years, a cousin gave it to somebody to live in. And is there a way to find out? Because I kind of had somebody to take a look at it and they said it looked fraudulent. Would I just have to, I guess, go pay for a title to do all the work on it, the leg?
I would do a lot of work. So like for us, like my examiner charged me $250, but they do a full examination. They're gonna do an examination that is good enough to insure it, right? To insure a policy on. So they're gonna dig up everything from maybe 60, 70, 80 years back. But I think in your situation, it's definitely worth paying that amount to get that full evidence. There are some websites, like I have investors who they want to get a title commitment and see what's on the property, see if there's any liens, judgments, who's the owner. And I tell them to go to protitleiusa.com. That's where I go to kind of do like a preliminary search. They don't issue policies, but they will give me enough information whether I should buy this property or move forward with this property or not. And then I will take it to a title company if I am. But I would get a search done to see who has ownership, see what kind of deeds, because we're gonna pull everything, anything on that property, we're gonna put all the records for it. And if there was some break a chain of titles or something that's not lined up in the timeline, then we could definitely let you know.
Okay, so here's the kicker. If there's so many people, like my grandfather had, I think, I forget how many of them, but then everybody through the years has a bunch of kids. So then I feel like it's not even worth my time because I don't know who's gonna get that property and how many ways it has to be split at this point.
Well, I still think it's worth it for everybody to know what's going on, right? Because eventually somebody got to sell it, somebody got to pay taxes on it. Otherwise, the state gonna take it anyway, right? I think it's definitely worth it. But I have seen we had 70 people on title, right? Like they just never did the will. They never did anything to pass along this property, which in our community, we don't do wills, right? Which is something we need to educate our communities on, because we should be able to pass this generation of what belong to our family members. Worst case scenario, they have to get an attorney saying, hey, we're going to assign one person to be the executors of the estate. Now you don't need all these people to sign. We just need this one person to sign because they're going to sign on behalf of the family. And then they could figure out, they don't have to. They don't have to, nobody else have to sign off.
No, but I'm saying they have to agree to allow this person to be the executive.
They should have somebody should be in agreement. But if they have an attorney, the attorney in the state, the judge is gonna be the one who's gonna assign, like, who been paying the taxes on it. So the judge might assign that person to be the executrix. But once all the proceeds are sent, it's gonna send to the attorney, and then the attorney gonna be like, hey, this is how we're gonna divide it. If you have more than 5 people, really more than 2 people, and them 2 people can't get along, then you have to take it to court, right?
But
Okay.
But wouldn't it, if like in Laverne's family case, if the family member had been living there over like 10 years, or isn't it a certain number of years they can try?
It's not. No, ain't that adverse. Not in Texas. We don't have people like, oh, I'm just living the property and it's mine. It don't really work like that.
Like, my question is, who was paying taxes on all this time? Who's been maintaining it? Because I mean, if the family member been living there, who was paying the
Somebody got to pay the taxes on it.
Well, I think about this particular property, the person that, okay, so my grandfather left it to one of his children and the daughter is the one.
How did he leave it to him? You say he left it like in a will?
I think a piece of paper, but that person's name still there. I mean, it was like given as a gift, maybe.
Well, they might have did a warranty. He might have signed some kind of warranty deed.
Okay.
But he could have signed that too, as long as they have all the parts to it, it could work.
Video.
I don't think they probably had video back then. That's what it sounded like. But Laverne, hey, shoot me the address. I mean, I'll do a preliminary search for you. I just want to know now what's going on. So yeah. I'll charge that $250 to the game. So send it over to me. Let me take a look at it.
Yeah, because it's funny because it's in Acres Home, and I would love to get that property back.
Okay. Yeah.
And
send it over to me. Matter of fact, here, I put my information in here. Put my cell phone number and what's my email address? Yep, send it to me. I'll check it out for you.
Okay.
Yeah. What else y'all have for me?
That's it for me. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
But I do have and you had gave me that website, and I was doing some research with some people, and it came back to where there were gaps in the title. So, like, they're kind of like not, and I did tell them, I was like, well, yeah, the next step is for you to get an attorney, but I really didn't know what an attorney would. I thought the attorney would kind of like try to find the people and do airship or any of that other stuff, but they could.
I mean, it depends on the attorney, right? Some of them don't know real estate either, right? Even though they're attorney, they might like
They know.
they might be like, man, they got to specialize in real estate or in probates, in family law in order to really, really know. Because I have worked with some attorneys, they be like, man, I want to do civil, I want to do criminal, like this is out of my
wheelhouse. And so the parents had passed away. She wanted to sell the house. She was the one paying taxes on the house, the one maintaining it, taking care of it. Now, there were other siblings, but the other siblings had all signed off on the paper, giving her the rights of it. She was the one maintaining it. One sibling, he was in prison and he had a bad relationship with the rest of them. And he says, I don't care what happened to the house, I refuse to sign. So we made it through all this process. She was going through an attorney, doing all this stuff.
But if they had signed it over, why was it a problem?
He didn't sign his portion of it.
He absolutely refused to sign. He told her he hoped she lost it. And it is what ended up happening in the end, because she fought it for a long time and was going back and forth. But she also was using a family friend who was an attorney. He did not specialize in probate and real estate. I talked to her and I advised her she may want to find someone else. He was assisting her pro bono. And the communication will be far and in between. So this was drug out for a long time.
And I have seen people say like he was incarcerated and say so the other 5 siblings wasn't. They signed over their interests over to the buyer. And the buyer might own 88% of this property. But if the person incarcerated, he figured, oh, he ain't gonna get out for a while. He can develop the property, get rent off of it. Oh, so he ain't care at all. The other one should have sold their interests over, right? And then
they could have told him now about you.
But his heirs is gonna receive the other percentage that he did own. But if they rent the property, then if they go to resell it, it's gonna be hard to resell.
He's been in prison for years, and he was gonna be.
But under that circumstance, could she have gotten with an attorney and gotten in front of a judge and got the judge to do
eventually? And they might have been like, hey, we're just gonna waive his rights. Y'all give us a portion. They could have been like, hey, whatever y'all sold it for, he gets that percentage of his cut. We'll put on his books or give it to his family or whatever.
And that's what, at the time, so this was early when I was first licensed. At the time, I was in a brokerage where my broker couldn't advise me because she didn't know what to do either. And the only thing that I could suggest to my client was to find an attorney who did specialize in it. Because I was like, I can't, I don't know what to tell you other than this is what you need, but I don't think that attorney can help you because this is not what he specializes in. So, I mean, he draw paperwork for you, but that's about it.
That's it, some contract.
Could do though.
Because
as a realtor, like you're not.
I could tell you, and I, asked my broker at the time. I was like, well, what should I tell my client they need to do? She said, well, I don't know either in that situation. The only thing I can tell them is, they talk to an attorney. If they have an attorney they work with, then that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, that's it.
So the property ended up going into foreclosure because at that point, when she couldn't sell it, she said, well, there's no need to keep doing something. Because the house needed repairs and needed work done to it. It just, at this point, it was gonna sit there and just fall apart. And she said, I'm not gonna keep paying taxes on it.
No, that makes sense.
So the tax foreclosure?
Yeah, she just let it go and let it go in the tax foreclosure.
To the tax auction and then which would have been good for them. They could have redeemed it. Yeah, they could have redeemed it back, right?
Now, 2020 is hindsight, but this was in my early stage. I didn't know all those things to even say or even talk about or think about. Now later on,
you need a good relationship with your title company, right? Because they have access to a lot of resources. Like we use our underwriter for a lot of legal stuff. Like sometimes our attorney don't know. Sometimes we don't know. We'll call our underwriter. They'll get their legal team together and be like, hey, these are the answers that you need.
Well, we were in communication with a title company because at this point, we actually had someone who wanted to buy it. So, we already had a buyer who wanted to get it and everything. We were in communication with title. Title had advised us on a lot of stuff, which is why we were getting the paperwork, having
okay.
But they only could advise us so far too. And then we hit the roadblock whenever the paperwork was sent for him to, try to get him to sign it. He sent back and was like, no. Title kind of didn't know what to tell us at that point, and the attorney was in my.
And sometimes for title, sometimes we'll turn some deals away. Sometimes we can issue policies on everything, and sometimes the underwriter be like, "Nah, I don't feel comfortable doing this." So what would
it take to raise a fuss to where you'd be like, "No"? Well, I'm saying
if we see some fraudulent documents,
if they look, that wasn't me. Period.
Prove it to me. Prove it wasn't you.
Okay, let me
give me some court documents.
Exactly.
And we can send a lot of our documents because we got the documents we getting is from county records, right? it's gonna be public information
Cause that was what
anyway.
I was thinking in the transaction I had, like, shouldn't they like send over whatever they say? And
We
you
have
say,
everything.
like, if I
Like,
say, oh, I didn't sign it, wouldn't you then be led
like,
to
look,
say,
it
let
shows.
me send it to you, this
Yep,
you, isn't
it's
it?
like,
And you like, no, I didn't sign it, then that would say, no.
not same person affidavit, right? So sometimes we have some people who like Michael Davis is I mean, not common name, but it's kind of common, right? So when we do our search and we search Michael Davis, it might be a whole bunch of Michael Davis pop up, different socials, birthday. I'll be like, hey, Mike, I'm gonna need your birthday, last for your social, so I can clean some of these off. And be like, okay, cool, we can take all these off. Oh, this one, it look like yours, your birthday match, name match, social match. This is your child support. This is, yeah, like, there's been some times, because there's been some times, when I say I got some crazy stories, like, I think this guy was getting married. His wife was buying the property, his new wife.
Mhm.
She ain't know he had another wife. They had a house that he owed child support. But when we pulled the records and looked at it, he was like, man, I don't have nothing to do with it. She gonna buy it on her own. I was like, well, we don't care. We running everybody's name. That's on this, you on this contract, we're running everybody's name. And I felt bad because now she found out. I know, that's how I felt so bad too. I don't know if they did, but actually it came from y'all.
Oh, well, you
know,
know,
This was a while back, and I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
I just had one, seriously, between Title and Linden. I think they found out he had 4 wives. 4 wives.
I mean, Title, we look at a lot of stuff, like a lot. Like, why you
And
pay
then
the
the
child support?
other girlfriend
Where all
who
this other
found
stuff
the
come
house
from?
for, of course, that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was.
That's crazy. All
Yeah.
right, well, let's wrap up. Hey, Shay, let's wrap it up. If anybody has any questions, anything else, we'll kind of shut it down.
Yeah,
All right, are there any other questions on Zoom?
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Let me know if y'all need anything.
Thank you so much, Kip.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime.
Y'all have a
Thank
great day.
you. Yeah, bye-bye.
All good.